am a big fan of Luigi's Mansion series. Both the first and the second were great to play for their different reasons, so when Nintendo announced they were making another, I was really excited. Before I talk about this game though, I want to briefly share my thoughts and experiences with the other two. Luigi's Mansion was a great add-on to the big picture of the Mario series. I liked how its main focus was on Luigi and not Mario. I'm not one of those people who think Mario is always mean to Luigi or anything like that, but Luigi always stood out to me for his humor and kind of cowardly personality. Anyway, this game's story was just a nice change of pace. Luigi winning a mansion, then meeting an old professor, then trying to catch ghosts, and eventually trying to save his brother from the clutches of King Boo. Man, that was awesome to me. The only bad thing I have to say about this game was the gameplay. I thought it was the worst going through the whole mansion 20 times looking for a key to move on to the next room, and I have 2 words: the blackout. The blackout is definitely the most infuriating part of the game by far. Everything else, like the portrait ghosts and the rooms themselves, were really creative. Now, when Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon came out, I was skeptical. I knew right then it would either live up to the series or make me say, why even make another game? I just never thought it'd be a mix of both. I felt that the story was lacking and basically the same as the first, but involved a Moon controlling all the ghosts, and King Moon basically doing the exact same thing as the first game. I mean, come on. The only part of the story I liked was when the ghosts went crazy and started destroying Egad's laboratory. I was very disappointed with the plot, but the gameplay I thought was a great improvement. You could never really get bored because after 5 or 6 levels, you were in a different area or mansion. I only wish I could have a little bit more freedom to explore like the original. I also felt that the ghost designs were also a big step up from its predecessor. Luigi's Mansion 3 probably had the best opener and or prologue of the series. Some parts of the first Luigi's Mansion, like Luigi randomly winning a mansion, doesn't really clear up on how he got the letter when it could have been anyone, and how he was the one in the free mansion mess in the first place. I'll quickly summarize the first couple of scenes in the game, explaining the basic plot just in case someone out there doesn't know. Luigi is invited to a resort hotel by the owner, Helen Gravely, and is strongly encouraged to invite his friends and family. So, Luigi invites his brother, Mario, Princess Peach, and 3 toads, cough cough and not Daisy, and brings what looks like his now pet dog, Polterpup, to accompany him to the hotel. When they arrive, they are warmly welcomed by Gravely herself and sent to their rooms. Luigi soon finds out that the hotel is haunted, and Gravely invited him to impress her idol, King Boo, and to meet the same fate his friends met, trapped in a painting. Of course, the plot was a bit predictable, and at the end a bit peachy, but was different in many ways to the previous games with only 2 or 3 similarities. I also want to point out, this game better explains how King Boo escapes from his painting than in Dark Moon. Of course, there is still some mystery on how Gravely was able to free the evil king, but more questions were left unanswered in Dark Moon when Professor Egad mentions he probably escaped after he sold his painting at his yard sale. I felt that the gameplay in Luigi's Mansion 3 was a massive improvement to the series. It was almost like a mix of both the first games. Every floor was different and there was lots of freedom to explore each room. There was also more cutscenes in this game with amazing animation, making it have the best graphics of the series so far. For me, this part of the game was fabulous. Almost every item was also interactive. Of course, everything can't be perfect. I felt that some of the designs of the floors were lacking and the objectives of the floors dragged on way too long. For example, one of the floors I hated was the 7th floor, Garden Suites. It reminded me way too much of the whole world Haunted Towers in Dark Moon. When I played through that floor, it felt like I was playing the knockoff version of the second game. This goes along with the 10th floor, Tomb Suites. Sure, the design was totally cool, but the traps and puzzles I thought were just plain annoying. God, I probably spent more time on that floor than any of the others. Well, now since I'm done with that rant, I'll just say most of the floors do not disappoint. Some of the boss ghosts are really cool, like the dance hall and the spectral catch, and the other floors with really cool designs like floor 8, the paranormal pictures, and floor 9, the Natural History Museum. Gooigi is a new feature I want to touch on. He's not bad, but kind of boring. God, that one was really bad. He's fun to play with when there's someone with you, but in single player, not so much. I feel that he's just overused. I'll put it like this. When in doubt, Gooigi is there. Before I talk about the ghosts, I want to add this game is super easy and very hard to die in. Heck, I only got one game over. I played about 20 hours of the game, but that's because of trying to get all the collectibles. Overall, I think the story mode is only a 15-hour game at the most. Now, let's discuss the ghosts. The main part of the game. You're all probably thinking, probably should have led with that, but I felt this would be more appropriate here. I feel that most of the ghosts are missing something. I mean, there are only 4 ghost types. What kind of busted tomfoolery is this? To be fair, the game did try to make up for this by giving the ghost costumes here and there, but this kind of made the game tedious. I do appreciate the boss ghosts though. They are a complete step up from the possessor ghosts, but they don't seem to be quite on the level as the portrait ghosts. I don't know, they're just missing something. Honestly, if you want to know the truth, multiplayer is just okay in this game. I did think that Scream Park was a really cool feature they added, and the only complaint I have is there should be like 2 or 3 more mini games. It gets really tiring to play the 3 that they have if you already played them a couple of times. The Scare Scraper, on the other hand, is unfortunately not so good. I never really liked this feature in Dark Moon, but I expected there would be major improvements, but I was wrong. Nothing really improved, and in fact, it's almost exactly the same. There's just a few more objectives, but very few maps compared to Dark Moon's Scare Scraper. It makes me sad to say this, but this game probably has the worst music in the entire series. Some tracks are okay, but aren't really notable or ear-catching. There are some in the game that are really just sucky. EGAT's new theme tried to take on a jazzy new feel to it. This track was pretty good, but it didn't work with the overall setting of the game. It almost says, hey, let's listen to some calming jazz before you get horrible upbeat music that you weren't expecting. I'm not saying that all the tracks are bad, but some I felt didn't work well with the game. I felt that the collectibles in this game were more of a suggestion, especially with the booze. In the first game, it was almost a requirement to capture all the booze the way EGOT went on about them. Now it's more like, hey, added a new feature to your Poltergeist goo. It lets you know where booze are. You really don't need to catch them because they don't have anything to do with the game. In fact, it's probably better if you didn't catch them at all. Gems, on the other hand, have lost their value compared to the first game. They used to be counted as money so you could get your rank up at the end of the game. In Dark Moon, they changed gems as collectibles, and there was a different set of gems in each mansion. For example, the Gloomy Manor had a set of amethyst gems. Anyway, if you collected all the gems, you get a possum-looking statue. Now the reward for collecting booze and gems isn't really worth it. In conclusion, Luigi's Mansion 3 was a great addition to the series. It had all the elements of the first games and the new ones too. There were a couple of things I considered were a bit lamer, but they didn't make the game bad. In conclusion, this game scores a 7.8 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing for more on Luigi's Mansion 3 and everything else Nintendo.